All right, it's Bob Ross, a Thunder Down Under, and I'm going to tell you about my Enlightenment Intensive. All right, we're going to do one right now. All right. Okay, this Enlightenment Intensive, I got to turn the light on here. Now, this light here is very bright. I'm with my hat. Okay, the lecture is. I'm going to steal the title from someone else. And Bob Ross is bugged out because I turned the hat around. So, but anyway, if Bob Ross was going to be giving you a lecture on a spiritual solution to everything, which is somebody else's talk, but I'm going to give it to you because I'm not going to go look for it. And somebody needs it. What does it mean? Well, normally, what you're taught when you're a child in grade school is if you have a problem, like a math problem or a science problem, you put on your thinking cap, right? Your thinking cap. Thinking cap, and that's what thinking caps are for. They're for solving problems. You're going to get a solution by thinking with your thinking cap. Now, thinking on the scale of consciousness it goes up to 499 on the scale of human consciousness. And if you want the reference, it's Dr. David R. Hawkins, PhD, who was the great teacher of enlightenment. And the scale of consciousness goes from 1 to 1,000 for humans. It's a logarithmic scale. 1 on the scale is the consciousness of an amoeba, or a single-celled organism like you would find in river water and have to look at with a microscope. And 1,000 would be the consciousness of Jesus or Buddha or Krishna. That's the highest you can get while you're in a physical body. 200 is the level of getting out of negativity. Everything below 200 is negative, so pride, apathy, grief, anger, all the lower emotions, lower feelings below 200 are negativity, and they just keep dragging you down. So 200 and up is positive, being positive, and up until 499 on the scale, you're using your thinking cap. And that means that you're using your rational mind, okay? So thinking, rational mind. In order to jump, it's a huge hurdle for humans to go above 499. Now, according to Dr. Hawkins, most humans probably on this planet, according to him and his don't even go above 200. So most humans on the planet are below 200, and that's why we live in such a, you see so much stupidity, because people are really low on the consciousness scale. But then, in the Western countries, about 50% of the people are over 200 on the scale. And when they're in the 200s and 300s, they're, technical people. So the stuff that they need to do, it's already been thought out how to do it. It's like, if you're going to learn how to cut hair, people already know how to cut hair. And, you're basically you learn from somebody else who already knows how to cut hair, how to do it. So it's following the instructions, basically. When you get above 300, when you get into the 400s, you become a master of thinking. So you might be a college professor, a professor of engineering, for example, who you think is very smart because they know all kinds of mathematics. And they've got, they're starting to use their intuition. They wouldn't call it that. They would still call it their thinking. and maybe they would think of it as insight. But they're still thinking. They're thinking a lot. It's thoughts. So inside their mind, they're waiting for thoughts to come. That brings you to 499. In order to get over 499, the next levels are 500 is a love. It's not romantic love. It's more of agape love, which is, I don't know how you have to describe it. Look up agape, A-G-A-P-E. And 540 on the scale is unconditional love. Above that, there's different other names, and then you move up into, I think, over 700, once you start getting into enlightened states. But once you start getting over 400, over 500 on the scale, you're getting out of the thinking intellectual mind, and you're getting into spirit. So if you're going to solve a problem, a spiritual solution to your problem, you don't do anything like what you used to do. You don't put on your thinking cap. What do? You meditate. What does meditation mean for me? Meditation for me means disengaging my intellectual mind. So if I've got, I'm talking to someone and they've given me something like an opinion. When I was using my thinking cap, it's like when they're talking to you, you have a very hard time shutting off your internal dialogue. So they're talking to you, and your mind is already spinning, and it would rather talk back to the person who's trying to tell you something than listen. This is like, everybody knows that, children are like this. It's like they don't want to sit still and listen to you tell them what to do. They need to know, but they're trained by you to run your mouth. So that's why humans have a hard time with conversations, because for the most part, they can't shut off their mind. The thinking mind wants to talk. It doesn't want to listen. And it's filled with garbage and gibberish. You watch television and you know what it's like. I mean, it's idiocy. So when you meditate for a long period of time, the thinking mind dissolves. And so you can listen to someone talk and not have an internal dialogue chatting about what someone is saying, criticizing. It's like an internal critic. It criticizes you and it criticizes everyone else. So you get into quiet space. So that's what it's like. It's just during that period, there's internal silence, and my mind is quiet. Now, how is the spiritual solution to your problem going to come? If you gave me a bunch of questions, and I was going to give you a lecture, I just talk. It just comes. When you're using your thinking cap, you're taught to think about things, write them all down, and then organize them, edit them, go back and edit them again, get somebody else to proofread it, And, if you were going to go and then give a broadcast or something, then you would have your finished copy and you might have it on a teleprompter and you might read it. That's what you do at lower levels of consciousness. Once you get to higher levels of consciousness, you don't do that. You don't do that, you just talk. Because when you're quiet, then whatever's going to come is going to come, and it's already pre-organized. And is it perfect? Sometimes I listen to it and it sounds like, well, that's not quite right. So I still have an internal critic. And sometimes I hear myself make mistakes. Like I said, 400 when I was talking earlier, and I meant 500. So why is that? It's nothing to be too concerned about. It's never going to be explainable other than trying to make me seem more human. When you become at a higher level of consciousness and you're living among humans, you have to appear human. And if all humans are using thinking caps and you're not, it's good to appear to be using your thinking cap, even though you're using spirit. So the mistakes that you see me make are done by spirit on purpose to make me seem like a regular human person. Okay. And as far as if you've got big problems, things that are bigger than what you can fix. So the example today was people worrying about 5G and all the horror stories people hear about 5G, mind control, and just too much electromagnetic radiation that's going to, poison your biological mind. And, realistically, what are you going to do with it when your cell phone company has already installed it in your town? Are you going to pick up everything and move? Well, they've already said they're going to also send 5G at you from satellite. So there's nowhere on the planet you can escape from. So this is a problem because you have over the years picked up the idea that things like X-rays and gamma rays and ultraviolet radiation, sunburns and things are cancer causing, and just they're unhealthy for you. And you've been given this, and there's nothing you can do about it. And if you use your thinking cap's going to say, well, if I organize all the people in my community and I get a hold of other people in all kinds of communities and we march on Washington, D.C. to get them to stop this thing, that might work. But that's an intellectual solution to the problem. And I'm not teaching you that. I'm teaching you the spiritual solution to the problem. And the spiritual solution is to, what I say, meditate and get to inner silence, to disengage that part of your mind that has got the problem and it keeps bringing you this problem. So, it's basically turning off, throwing that hat away, the thinking cap away, meditating, and taking your mind off of it. Okay? So, if you're first starting to meditate, it's very hard. It's a very hard thing to do because your mind doesn't want to be turned off. So I'm going to give you something you can do. Go do something else that's going to occupy your mind. So do some sewing. Um, do some carpentry. Do something physical with your hands. Maybe go swimming. When you're doing something physical, it tends to get your thinking mind away from worrying about these kind of intractable problems that are very, you can't fix them on yourself. You got to march on Washington. So you get out of worrying about it by busying yourself with other things. Go to the grocery store and, prepare a gourmet meal. You just have to get your mind off of it. And, best thing to do is just load your thinking mind with other things that it can think about. So if you've only got one thing on your mind, you're sitting there, it's not going to stop. You've got to get yourself active doing something else. And, okay, mind, this is what we're going to do. We've got to go shopping, and I want to get the best prices on everything. So you can give your mind the idea, okay, well, I want you to find me, the cheapest green peppers you can, and we have to figure out how many we're going to have, and maybe we're going to invite, the mother-in-law or something. So give it a lot of things, normal things. If you can go sewing, just focus on your sewing and your pattern. If you're a carpenter, you're building something. That's what you have to do. And try to learn how to meditate and silence your mind in the meantime, because that's eventually what you're going to be able to do. Is you won't have to do these other things to preoccupy your mind. Once you meditate and you keep at it and keep at it and keep at it and keep at it, your mind will know that you intend to go to silence. It just knows. You're going to meditate. Sometimes you're tired and you think you're going to fall asleep, but you'll end up meditating and you actually might not fall asleep. Or sometimes you're meditating and you actually fall asleep. But that's where you're going to get to, and the spirit will do things. It might not give you the words, it might not tell you what it's going to do, but you can try it for any problem that you've got. And just go to silence, get busy doing something else, and watch how the things that you thought you had to get done today get done for you. A lot of times people call on me to do things because it's on their list of to-do things to do, and it's too much for them, or they think I'm not busy, so they assign it to me. And the things get done. Do I do them? Not very much. Not very much. Once in a while, my intuition says, okay, this is something you're going to do. But a lot of the stuff that thinking people give me, I find that it just gets done. It just gets done. And, occasionally I will get told later on, well, you were told to do this and that and the next thing, and you didn't do it. And I think to myself, yes, but my intuition told me, it doesn't say don't do this usually, it's just, it busies me with other things. And things get done. If you're worried that, you need a ride or something, you just go and meditate, and between your intuition telling you what to do and just waiting quietly, your ride will turn up. It will. There's the stories about people who are really good at this, who say, okay, well, you know, I'm going to go meet you in the middle of New York City in 2 weeks. They don't say where, they don't give a time, and 2 weeks later, they meet. The thinking mind cannot figure that one out. But the spiritual solution is that Spirit knows where you are. Spirit knows the person that you are supposed to meet, knows where you are at all times, and is actually arranging the meeting spot. And Spirit might not tell you, might just, your intuition is, I'm going to just drive down Park Avenue or whatever street it is, and you look over and Spirit will move your head and your eyes, and there's your friend. That's how it works. So the thing you have to get over is worry. What if it doesn't work? You know, I've heard your lecture. What if it doesn't work for me? You have to try it. You have to try it. And if you've got your thinking mind that's starting to worry about it and saying, then this isn't going to work, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working, you're going to have to train your thinking mind. Because the thinking mind is always going, yeah, but. It's always got it, yeah, but. But this, but that. What about this? What about that? Yeah, but. That's what thinking mind does. It'll do it for sure. It'll say, but. And you'll say, it's okay, we're doing spiritual. And it'll go quiet for a minute, and then it'll go, yeah, but what about this? And what about this? It'll keep bugging you. I'm just letting you know that's what it does. Everyone's got to train their thinking mind to. I know you used to do this. You used to figure this out for us. That was your job. Your new job is, what do you give the thinking mind to do? Well, sometimes we do the pizza meditation. And they say, okay, thinking mind, this is what you're going to do. We're doing the pizza meditation. So what I want you to do is once every 2 seconds say pizza. 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 And keep going until you're tired. So that's a pizza meditation. Your intuition might give you some other things, but you're just going to give your thinking mind something to do. You know. And then later on, when you get your spirit guides, you're probably going to have to train your spirit guides, because everyone thinks, oh, my spirit guides is going to be like angels and Jesus or something. Not necessarily. If you're lucky, perhaps. But mine were not. Mine have to be trained. And they are trainable. It's like training your dragon or something. Because the ones that came to me all had thinking minds, and they were just like a typical human, and they had to learn meditation, and they're really good right now. Not all the time. It's just like the human thinking mind. Sometimes you get really good at meditation and quietness, and some other times they're chatty Cathy. Chat. Can't shut up. But if that's what happens to you, if you do get spirit guides, you're going to have to train your guides. I can't help you with that. But once you've got your guides trained, then you can go back to your inner silence and show them how the spiritual solutions work for you. Okay, so the spiritual solution for 5G is to meditate and tell your thinking mind not to worry about it. There is nothing to be concerned about, because your physical body is just a ghost. It's a specter. It sure seems physical, but You go look up the quantum physicists, Heisenberg and Feynman, all those, and look up all what they say. They say there's nothing there. So what we're doing is we're seeing thought forms, which are part of consciousness. So everything here that we think is physical is not physical. It's something that you are experiencing in consciousness. The difference is, once everything is consciousness, it is spirit. There is nothing physical going on here. And if you're looking for spiritual solutions, then you got to see everything around you as spiritual. Okay? I'm Jokey McFlokey for Infinite Bob 99.